My last night with Marcus at the hospital, I was taking care of him, and at around 3 o'clock in the morning, she said to me, she just looked at me in this dark room. I'm there serving, and she looked at me and she said, "Look what you have done to this family." I remember texting my mom saying, "I can't do this anymore." I told God, "You feel the pain of my heart. Me and my child are ruining this family." And I said, "I know, my God, you're protective of me. You'll get me out of here." That was my last night. The next day, he died.
Marcus Lamb's final hours were marred by a bitter family conflict, overshadowing his legacy and revealing deep familial tensions. Before we dive into this heart-wrenching story, if you're moved by tales of human struggle, faith, and the complexities of family dynamics, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. Your support helps us bring these important stories to light. Now, let's unravel the dramatic and emotional events of Marcus Lamb's final hours, a night that revealed deep familial tensions and left a lasting impact on his legacy. The final hours of Marcus Lamb's life were supposed to be a time of solemn reflection, unity, and love. Instead, they became a battleground for unresolved family tensions. As Marcus lay gravely ill in the hospital, the atmosphere was charged with grief and despair. But what should have been a moment of collective mourning turned into a bitter confrontation between his wife, Joni Lamb, and his daughter-in-law, Suzy Lamb. The tension between the two women had been simmering for years, but on this fateful night, it erupted in a way that would forever taint Marcus's final moments. Joni, overwhelmed by the weight of her husband's impending death, directed her anger and frustration toward Suzy. The hospital room, dimly lit and filled with the hum of medical equipment, became the stage for a confrontation that no one could have anticipated. Suzy, who had been tirelessly caring for Marcus, found herself at the center of Joni's accusations. The clash between the two women was not just a personal dispute. It was a reflection of deeper issues within the family. This confrontation was more than just a family argument. It was a moment that exposed the fragility of relationships. Even in the face of death, Marcus, a man who had dedicated his life to spreading messages of love and unity, was now a silent witness to the unraveling of his own family. The tragedy of his final hours lies not just in his passing, but in the fact that his legacy of harmony was overshadowed by discord. In the quiet of the hospital room, Suzy Lamb's world came crashing down. As she sat by Marcus's bedside, offering what little comfort she could, Joni Lamb turned to her with a look of pure anguish and anger. "Look what you have done to this family," Joni said, her words cutting through the stillness like a knife. For Suzy, this accusation was not just a passing remark. It was a devastating blow. She had been trying to hold the family together, to be a source of strength during this unimaginably difficult time. But Joni's words made her feel like an outsider, a villain in a story she never wanted to be part of. The tension in the room was palpable, and Suzy could feel the weight of Joni's anger pressing down on her. This confrontation was a turning point for Suzy. It was a moment she realized that the family she had married into was not the united, loving unit she had once believed it to be. The accusation that she had ruined the family was not just about her. It was about years of unresolved grievances, unspoken resentments, and unmet expectations. As Suzy recounted this moment, her voice trembled with emotion. She described the feeling of being trapped, of wanting to escape, but knowing she had to stay for Marcus's sake. The hospital room, once a place of care and compassion, had become a prison of pain and regret. This confrontation will haunt Suzy for years to come, a painful reminder of the night when everything fell apart. In the midst of the chaos, Suzy Lamb reached out to her mother in a moment of sheer vulnerability. With trembling hands, she typed out a text that would later become a haunting testament to her emotional state. "I can't do this anymore." These 5 words carried the weight of her despair, her exhaustion, and her sense of helplessness. Suzy's text was more than just a cry for help. It was an admission of defeat. She had tried to be strong, to navigate the storm of emotions swirling around her, but the confrontation with Joni had pushed her to her breaking point. The hospital room, once a place of quiet reflection, had become a battlefield, and Suzy felt like she was losing the war. As she sent the message, tears streamed down her face. She felt the crushing weight of guilt, believing that she and her child were somehow responsible for the family's unraveling. In that moment, Suzy turned to God, pleading for divine intervention. "You feel the pain of my heart," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the hospital machines. This moment of despair reveals the human side of the story, the raw, unfiltered emotions that come with loss and conflict. Suzy's text to her mother was a lifeline, a desperate attempt to hold on to something familiar in a world that was falling apart. It was a reminder that even in the darkest moments, we seek connection, understanding, and solace. Marcus Lamb was a man of faith, a beacon of hope for countless individuals who looked to him for spiritual guidance. His life's work was dedicated to spreading messages of love, forgiveness, and unity. Yet, in his final hours, he became a silent witness to the very opposite of what he preached. The irony of Marcus's passing is both heartbreaking and profound. Here was a man who had spent his life building bridges, fostering connections, and encouraging others to live in harmony. But as he lay on his deathbed, the family he had worked so hard to unite was tearing itself apart. The tension between Joni and Suzy was a stark contrast to the values Marcus had championed, and it cast a long shadow over his legacy. For those who knew Marcus, this contradiction was difficult to reconcile. How could a man who had inspired so many with his teachings be surrounded by such discord in his final moments? The answer lies in the complexity of human relationships. Even the most respected figures are not immune to the struggles and imperfections that come with being human. Marcus's death serves as a poignant reminder that life is not always neat and tidy. It is messy, complicated, and often unpredictable. His legacy, while tarnished by the events of that night, remains a testament to the power of faith and the enduring impact of his work. The confrontation between Joni and Suzy was not an isolated incident. It was the explosive culmination of years of unresolved tensions. The Lamb family, often held up as a model of Christian values, had been struggling under the weight of public expectations. Living in the spotlight can be both a blessing and a curse. For the Lambs, the pressure to maintain a perfect image had created a volatile environment. Differences in opinion, personal grievances, and unmet expectations have been simmering beneath the surface for years. The stress of Marcus's illness only amplified these tensions, bringing them to a boiling point. Joni's accusation that Suzy had ruined the family was not just about one moment. It was about years of pent-up frustration and resentment. The public nature of the family's position meant that every disagreement, every misstep was magnified. The pressure to live up to their reputation as a paragon of faith and unity had taken its toll, leaving little room for vulnerability or imperfection. This conflict serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of placing unrealistic expectations on public figures. It reminds us that behind the carefully curated image lies a family, flawed, human, and struggling to navigate the complexities of life. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Suzy Lamb felt a profound sense of isolation. The family she had married into, once a source of strength and support, now felt like a distant memory. The unity that had been so carefully cultivated over the years had shattered, leaving Suzy to pick up the pieces. As she sat in the hospital room, surrounded by the remnants of a broken family, Suzy couldn't help but feel abandoned. The accusation from Joni had cut deep, leaving her questioning her place in the family. She felt like an outsider, a scapegoat for problems that had been brewing long before she arrived. This sense of isolation was compounded by the belief that the family's unity had been lost forever. The values that Marcus had worked so hard to instill, love, forgiveness, and compassion, seemed to have been forgotten in the heat of the moment. For Suzy, this was perhaps the most painful realization of all. Her emotional account of that night reveals the toll that unresolved conflict can take on an individual. It is a reminder that family is not just about blood ties. It is about connection, understanding, and mutual support. When those bonds are broken, the emotional scars can run deep. The Lamb family had long been revered as a symbol of moral integrity and spiritual leadership. Marcus's work had touched countless lives, and his family was often held up as an example of Christian values in action. But the events of that night shattered this image, leaving the Christian community in a state of shock. For many, the revelation of a violent confrontation within the Lamb family was difficult to reconcile with the image they had come to know. How could a family so closely associated with faith and unity become embroiled in such a scandal? The incident forced the community to confront the uncomfortable truth that even the most respected figures are not immune to human frailty. For the Lamb family, the incident was a painful reminder of the scrutiny that comes with living in the public eye. It was a moment of reckoning, a chance to reflect on the values they had worked so hard to uphold. The confrontation between Joni and Suzy was not a sudden outburst. It was a result of years of unresolved grievances and personal frustrations. The pressure of living up to the family's public persona had created a volatile environment, where even the smallest disagreements could escalate into full-blown conflicts. Joni's accusation that Suzy had ruined the family was a reflection of the deep-seated tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface. It was a moment of raw emotion, a breaking point after years of sacrifice and compromise. For Suzy, the confrontation was a painful reminder of the challenges she had faced as a member of the Lamb family. It was a moment that laid bare the complexities of human relationships and the toll that unresolved conflict can take. This incident serves as a reminder that conflict is often the result of deeper issues. It is a call to address grievances before they escalate, to seek understanding and reconciliation in the face of adversity. In the wake of the scandal, community leaders call for reconciliation and healing. They urge the Lamb family to set aside their differences and come together in honor of Marcus's memory. The call for reconciliation was not just about mending a fractured family. It was about restoring the faith of community that had been shaken by the incident. Church leaders emphasized the importance of forgiveness and unity, values that Marcus had championed throughout his life. For the Lamb family, this was a chance to rebuild the bonds of trust that had been damaged. It was an opportunity to honor Marcus's legacy by embodying the values he had worked so hard to promote. Despite the scandal, Marcus Lamb's legacy remains a powerful force for good. His life's work continues to inspire millions, offering hope and comfort in times of hardship. The events of that night serve as a reminder that even the most respected figures are not immune to the complexities of human relationships. They underscore the importance of compassion, understanding, and forgiveness in the face of adversity. Marcus's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of faith and the impact of a life dedicated to service. It is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there's a possibility for redemption and healing. Despite the scandal, Marcus Lamb's legacy remains a powerful force for good. His life's work continues to inspire millions, offering hope and comfort in times of hardship. The events of that night serve as a reminder that even the most respected figures are not immune to the complexities of human relationships. They underscore the importance of compassion, understanding, and forgiveness in the face of adversity. Marcus's legacy is a testament to the enduring power of faith and the impact of a life dedicated to service. It is a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is a possibility for redemption and healing. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue this important conversation together. Thank you for watching.